What's good, everybody? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of the Celebrity Junk. I'd like to have a conversation about our boy, Offset. And Offset is a kind of guy that, he's talented, I guess, in the industry, for those of you who want to say that. But the situation with Offset and why he gets disrespected by Cardi B is because Offset can't control his behavior. And I always wondered why Cardi B was so disrespectful to him, called him all kind of BANs on Twitter. He wouldn't really respond in the same way. And now we see her hanging out with Stephon Diggs, and he's out there, making diss tracks, making himself even look even more dumb. Why is he engaging in this behavior? Then we come back and then we look at something that's viable. And I think that all of us as black men can learn from this. And unfortunately, what they're saying about Offset is he has a gambling problem, okay? He has a gambling problem, and he's over $50 million in debt. This has happened over the past 5 years to high stakes gambling. Sometimes he can lose $2 million in a night, and this is a downward spiral. And of course, all of the money that he's worth is gone, okay? And Cardi B wants to separate from that. And we can say everything under the sun about Cardi B and her behavior. We can say that Cardi B is a 304. We can say that Cardi B is ratchet. We can say all of that. But I don't want to put the ownership on Cardi B, because one thing that as men that we must always do is we must handle our business, okay? And if he was such a great man, he wouldn't be with her in the first place. Now, what I want to talk about is this, brothers. What I want to talk about is this, as black men. Our first goal, for those of you men who are going to get married, what can we say? We are saying that if you're going to get married and have a family, you got to take care of your business, right? Nobody wants to hear why you can't do nothing. Nobody wants to hear why you don't have this or you don't have that. You got to make your decisions that you're going to be there for your family and not make mistakes no matter what. And I'm talking about this. My father had a crack cocaine addiction in the 80s and the 90s. He got off of it like in the early 90s, around 1992, 93. He was able to kind of kick it and do his thing, okay? He was 38 years old at the time. Obviously, he went on ahead to do some pretty good things in his life. But the problem with that is all the respect was gone. He had become a man that nobody could depend on, okay? Because his talent didn't matter. He loved drugs more than he loved being a father, right? And so my mother and myself and my brothers, we struggled because our father couldn't get it together. And so no matter what he did, that report card, that F on the report card that I left my family down is always there, no matter how much you love them. And as a man, you can't go back and tell your kids, well, I was going through something at that time. Or, I was down bad at that time. Or this is what's going on at that time. I was depressed at that time. Ain't nobody trying to hear that. Nobody is trying to hear that. As a man, as a black man, we're not trying to hear that, okay? Folks are not trying to hear that. People want to know, why couldn't you get your stuff together? Your kids is not going to understand that. Why, I will come home and say, Mom, why is Dad at the gas station? Or why is Dad ain't been home for 4 nights? Oh, because he's out there smoking crack. And then your kids, why is Daddy not here? Because your daddy had a gambling problem. He couldn't get himself together because he was too busy chasing thoughts. Once them kids get in the game and you got folks you're depending on, it's all over but the shout. You got a mama to depend on. You got kids to depend on. Time is out for the foolishness. Once you got a mom to take care of or you got kids to take care of, all these little thotting it up and not taking care of your kids and all that stuff and not taking care of your responsibilities, no. We got to stand up as a man, all right? That's something you got to stand up as a man. When I was coming up, my mom wasn't perfect, but you know what she used to always tell me? She said, every morning my feet hit the floor to take care of my kids. And I said, you know what? When I ever get an opportunity to do the same thing for you, I'm gonna do it. And every day I get up to take care of my mother every day without fail. Okay, it's times I don't have money. It's times I don't have what I want to have. But my mother will never suffer as long as God let me live. That's a fact. Because I got to be strong for my mom, for the business that I have, for everything. And you got to be strong too. Don't be no weak ass dude like this. Times get tough as a man, I understand. Life is not easy. Life is not always gonna go your way. And I don't care how much of a good person or bad person you are, life is just gonna give you challenges, man, that, hey, unfortunately, physical challenges, mental challenges, things in a different way. But it ain't nothing that you can't get out of. Long as the devil don't take your life, you got a shot. And when you got to get into the gambling addictions and the drug addictions and the alcohol addictions, you got to somehow find a way to get and beat that. You got to somehow find a way to not let that be your story, not go out like that, not lose over that. You have to make sure that you don't do that, okay? And that is the most important thing that you need to do. That's the most important thing. Once you got kids, once you got responsibilities, you're not going out like that on no gambling addiction because you got 3 kids and you're gonna lose $50 million. I mean, when you have kids, how do you come back and look at your wife and tell your wife that and expect to be treated as a man? Of course she can go to Stefan Diggs. You know why? Stefan Diggs ain't got no damn gambling addiction, even if he not gonna be faithful. And I hate to even take her side because I don't want to do that. But at least he ain't gonna do that. You ain't got no excuse. I done seen many ladies. I seen dudes who get chicks, man, that's so bad. I'm talking about fine, super thick, dummy thick, top, bottom, and everything. And you be like, damn, man, how did bruh lose her? Not taking care of his business. He ain't paying the rent. Like just little simple things. He not paying the rent, not paying the car note, house note repossessed, not putting food in the refrigerator. You work every day, not managing your stuff, not even buying toilet paper, like little simple things like that. The woman is in there struggling, you know? What kind of man is that? You all know people like that. Can't even put airtime on the phone, not paying your phone bill. That's the kind of man, not even putting gas in the car. A grown man every day, not even taking care, not even have no plan for nothing. That's a lot of men like that. Just dusting. You be sitting back like, damn, bro. Start a business, not invest in the business, not taking care of the business, not working in the business, out at the club, out at the bar, buying bottles. These married guys. I done met married dudes, man, that are worse than single dudes. Just completely disrespecting their family. Completely not. Wife is good looking, not saying she's perfect, but not taking care of no business. Take care of your business as a man. Then get mad when you get disrespected. Of course you're going to get disrespected if you're not taking care of your damn business. Of course. So guys, what do you think it should put? O'Shea Duke Jackson back at it again. This episode of The Celebrity Drunk. Appreciate you for all that you do. Subscribe to the bell. We're out.